Hello. Hello, this is the My Artifact episode number 3759. Today's date is uh, December 14, 2025. It's been almost like a morning at 9:27 9:27 p.m. All right. Okay. So what I want to I don't know. I'm not feeling really good from last night. Yeah. I have a little bit fever somehow. Also with little bit of sardi. I'm not really sure what should I supposed to be called sardi in English. Cold, yeah, cough, cold, yeah, cold. Yeah. Uh okay. Today, one of my friend has a wedding, and it's really good. It's really great. Okay, yeah. Now, I have to be talk about something. Okay, yeah. What I have to talk about something. I don't know. It's just like the the let's just talk. I'm not really sure what should I'm talking. Let me flow through the conversation, and then I don't know. So in my friends group, everyone are married, by the way, till now. And everyone is almost, yeah, like a couple of people are left, like me and one of my friend. Okay, yeah. But everyone are married at this moment. Okay. um I'm living in India, and we have some sort of social kind of like a something social kind of like a something burden or social responsibility. Yeah, that key we have to get married and things and that. And if we are not following that responsibility, you are not considered as a kind of like a something respectful person or a person probably. Yeah. uh so you have to be follow these kind of like a responsibility and things like that. Then what about career, what about this and that? Well, these are also really essential too. Okay, yeah. And those are things should supposed to be achieve before the wedding. Okay, yeah. Before the wedding, yeah. What if the person has a kind of like a try to achieve something really bigger goals? Then bigger goals required too much effort, and cannot able to be focused on this social responsibility and things like that. Wanted to focus on the try to build something really bigger and things like that. For that particular person, this responsibility is valid or not valid. I am not really sure. I think it's kind of like a depends on the person, depends on the surrounding of that person, depends on the goals and things and that. It's like the like basically this is another problem that everyone are facing is kind of like a it's not similar to everyone. It's somewhat something similar, but not entirely. Details are very much different than that. Okay, yeah. Maybe like a like let's just say their parents would be a little bit supportive regarding about their career and things like that, so that is okay. Sometimes parents didn't really support. Okay, yeah. So it's a lot of things. Okay, you have to figure it out, hassle out and things and that. It's a lot of stuff. But these social obligations are really essential to kind of like a simply really essential. Okay, yeah. Because yeah, now, is that right? Is that true? Is that essential to follow this social obligation to kind of like things and that? Well, yeah, it is. Okay, yeah. And why it is? Because it kind of like a makes us human to. It kind of like it's. I don't know how do I supposed to explain. We are like a. We are not animal. We are human. Okay, yeah. And specifically, we are kind of like a social animal. Okay, yeah. Our growth is kind of like a depends upon the people. Okay, yeah. And when we are kind of like a living together in social circle, we have to follow some sort of social obligation, which is like a somewhat something really essential from every possible perspective, which kind of like leads to human to grow a new generation and things and that, right? So yeah, it is essential. Okay, now another question actually arise that ki, like, but there is no thing, dude. Yeah, it's just like that na, ki if you wanted to try to achieve something, you have to sacrifice something. That's the true. If you wanted to achieve your goal, you have to sacrifice the social obligation. Okay, yeah, and if you sacrifice the social obligation, means like that you have to kind of like a face the lot of problem comes with it, like a disrespect and things and that, which is, I belong to the India, and I'm pretty sure I kind of like know what exactly is this means to me. Okay. Now let's just jump back to the things. Okay. Do you feel jealous that everyone are actually getting married and you are not? No, not really. I'm not really jealous, by the way. Okay. Yeah. It's not really that ki my friend is actually married in this lot. It's like that. No, I just feel like that I'm left behind at something. Okay. Yeah. And that is kind of like a somebody feels little bit something that ki are wrong in some sort of context, but not really sure. Why is that? Because is this thing na ki even if I'm say I am believing my goals and things and I want to achieve all my goals and stuff like that, it is all those really good stuff, but still I also a human, I also a social animal too. I live around the people too. Okay, yeah. And this is somewhat something that kind of like a something essential. Okay, yeah. If you didn't really follow, then I don't know. Yeah. So I'm not really jealous. I'm just kind of like a feel like left behind. But I do realize that ki uh, I will gonna come back like basically this thing, a rock solid comeback. uh, so yeah, is it okay? It's not really that key kind of like a only problem and things like that. It's good. Okay, yeah. Uh, if you have any kind of like a some advice to your friend who is actually getting married today, what kind of like a some advice that you are gonna give? Advice. Well, I am not a person that I should supposed to give any kind of like advice. Regarding about what? Regarding about relationship, marriage? How would I supposed to give the advice that I didn't really experience those moments? Right. So I think I'm not a kind of like a credible person to kind of like give any kind of like some advice to anyone at all. I simply kind of like let them. I will simply congratulate that particular person that he wishing you very happy married life, wedding life, probably. By the way, is this saying those are kind of like a people who are married today are actually kind of like a been relationship for almost like a 7 year. Okay, yeah. So I seen them both together all the time. So it's not really kind of like a I'm seeing them differently since today. No, nothing really at all. Okay, it's just kind of like a wedding. It's just kind of like a government license that okay, yeah. Now that particular person called as your wife and things like that. That is okay, yeah. So like basically I seen them both since the 7 year and it's kind of like a somebody this thing. It's a very much kind of like a somebody common probably. Okay, like I don't really see a kind of like a very different point of perspective looking at them. Nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. I would just simply congratulate them. Okay, yeah, that they should supposed to be enjoy their life and things like that. Yeah, that is like I don't really think that they would really require my kind of like assembly advice or congratulation. By the way, yeah, I would congratulation them. It's kind of like assembly is this thing fair say to kind of like tell them that congratulations buddy, wishing you very happy married life. Probably this is the one thing that I should supposed to say. All right, yeah. Uh Now basically is this thing that like sometimes I just realize that why the fuck I'm recording right now talking about the wedding and stuff like that, because my friend is actually kind of like a something getting married today. So yeah, um I wanted to kind of like a talk about myself. I want to talk about what if like when I married, like imagine today you will gonna get married. Okay, yeah. So how do you feel? How do you feel that? Like how do you like kind of make kind of like a, do the imagination? How do you feel when you are married? Like a imagine is this that today you are getting married. Okay, yeah. Like basically a couple of hours you will gonna get married. Okay, so what you will gonna kind of like face, what you will gonna kind of like think right now at the moment, like a just kind of like somebody just in the morning recording artifact. What do you want to think about that? I would think like that ki probably uh, like I don't really consider as a kind of like a simply wedding is a kind of like a big changes happen in life, nothing at all. Like a changes happen through kind of like a something the decision that you make, the effort that you do, and the goal that you wanted to achieve and things like that. Changes comes from that. Wedding, yes, wedding is also kind of like a changes comes from that too. Okay, it's not really that it doesn't really come, it changes comes that too. um and I like changes, yeah. Like basically is this thing, uh like I always been realized that ki when you are kind of like a stick into the uncomfortable position, like if when you are kind of like somebody in uncomfortable zone, you are grown, you are kind of like a start growing and things like that. And this is what I'm kind of like a been through for my last couple of year. I was kind of like a somebody like a facing all those kind of like a somebody resistance and things to kind of like a try to achieve my goals and things like that. It's very uncomfortable zone, but I'm kind of like a surviving right now. And basically that is called kind of like some growth and things like that. Now wedding is also kind of like a some sort of little bit uncomfortable position, but it's also comfortable too. Okay, yeah. One of the biggest changes that I might think that would gonna happen after the wedding, not after the wedding, after I get the that particular person, that particular partner. Okay, yeah. Like what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that I usually kind of like express my thought process through this artifact episode. No, I don't really have anyone at all. Okay, that's how I'm kind of like simply record the artifact, express myself, everything. Now I have to ask this question that if someday that particular person is with me, if that particular person I fall in love, so should I supposed to record the artifact or should I supposed to be kind of like a tell her my thought process and things like that? Um, well, artifact is a kind of like a assembly of when a really good advantage of artifact is that it gives me freedom to talk. Okay, um, without having hesitation, without having kind of like a thing. Let me give you the context. Okay, let me. Okay, yeah. Imagine is this thing. I'm kind of like doing this conversation in front of the person. Okay, yeah. So basically, when I try to communicate this thing, so I I will not get that much freedom to talk. Now what exactly it means, you don't really get freedom to talk. Like let me give you the context. It's not meant to be kind of like a simply that key that particular person not let me talk. No, it's not. Okay, yeah, if that particular person kind of like a giving me opportunity to talk and things like that, but uh okay, I don't know, I experienced this thing in my life, and you probably too. Okay, yeah. Let me give you the example. Your the way that you talk, it kind of like a change according to the who you talking to. Okay, yeah. If you're talking to your friend, you will kind of like a free uh, like a blunt and things like that. Okay, but when you're talking to your girl or things like that, you will become little bit polite. If you're talking to the elderly person, you will talk really respectfully. Okay, yeah. This kind of like a voice modulation change according to your voice, according to your the way that you talk in front of the people. Now why is that, why is that actually happen? Because of the key you are to show some sort of kind of like a something factor from your talking factor. Yeah, probably is this thing that key like basically in front of your frame, you in front of your friend, you will gonna talk bluntly. Why? Because you don't really care that much, you are kind of like a carefree and kind of like a free and things like that, so you wanted to replicate that thing. Okay, yeah. bencho laude kaise bencho laude, right? Just it's kind of like a feel that ki yeah, being kind of like a friend is supposed to be that. Okay, yeah. uh, but when you talk with a kind of like elderly person, you will not gonna talk bluntly, you will gonna talk respectfully and things like that. Even if that kind of like elderly person gives you freedom to talk anything that you want, but still you will kind of like a talk very respectfully. And this is what kind of like a things that this is what kind of like a simply human tends to, because we are a social animal and we are kind of like a talk differently according to the different person. Okay, yeah. Artifact is kind of like a give them a very huge freedom that key artifact is no person, there is nothing really at all, there is just a mobile phone in front of you and you just kind of like a talk. Okay, yeah. So So basically listening, there is no one is actually hearing, there is no one is listening, you just kind of like express your thoughts and things like that on your mobile phone. So you just became you. Okay, yeah, you just became you, just blunt, you just respectful, you just talk to yourself, and you just kind of like became you. That's what kind of like give the very high advantage of artifact. Now I have to be asked this question, that when I had this girlfriend or a person or partner, then will I able to kind of like communicate the way that we are communicating right now? Not that much probably. Why? Because obviously there are a lot of things I should supposed to be care regarding about how she feel, regarding about what she think, regarding about, yeah, this and that. Now is it kind of like a somebody add as a burden to kind of like a not let you talk the way that you should supposed to be? No, it's not that. Okay, yeah. Because let me tell you one thing, it's like artifact is a kind of like a simply the way that gives you freedom to whatever you want to talk, you could talk. Okay, yeah. But it does not give you clarity, it does not give you feedback, it does not gives you anything at all. Yeah, you are kind of like a talking to yourself and things like that, but probably is this thing that ki you might not wrong, or you, it's something that na ki you will get something feedback, that is somewhat something really essential, and that's what kind of like a simply enjoyment part of communication. Okay, you get the feedback, you kind of like resonated it, if you don't, you just try to convince, if you try to other people to realize that. Yeah, so when you talk to the communicate with the people, you kind of like a talk with a two way of communication. Okay, yeah, like you are talking, she was actually listening, and she was actually talking, you are also listening to. But artifact is a one way of communication, like you are just talking. Okay, yeah, yeah, one way of communication gives you freedom. Okay, yeah, but it not gives you all those feedbacks and things and kind of like a some annotation and lot of stuff. But when you talk to your person or partner or things like that, you will get all those things, you will get kind of like a feedbacks or things or that and that. Okay, now it kind of like a change according to the person, it kind of like a change according to the situation too. Example is this thing, imagine she's kind of like a some hurry situation, she is actually going to somewhere else and things like that. You cannot able to talk like that ki ha, like basically I'm kind of like thinking about this and stuff like that. Obviously she would not gonna listen, because she have kind of like a some hurry situation, she have to go to the office and things like that. Obviously she might not gonna reply, or she might kind of say I'm kind of like a busy, I will gonna talk later or things like that. Okay, yeah, so you might gonna feel really hurtful and things like that, dude, what the fuck is that? But you have to understand that the situation is not right. Okay, yeah, you have to kind of like a talk according to the situation. Na? It's not really that huh? Like this kind of like a communication is actually happen when you are kind of like a sitting soaking up the sun, and then you talk, then you kind of like a free your mind and things and that and that. And when you try to communicate, it kind of like a way bigger better than artifact, because artifact is a one way of communication. Communication with the other person is a two way of communication. Okay, yeah, and also you will build the kind of like a some stronger connection and things and that and that. Also it takes time too, it's not really that key you kind of like a started talking and you are kind of like feel really good and things like that. Okay, because other person might also feel that same thing too. So probably is this thing na ki it's really essential that whoever your partner should supposed to be talk. Yeah, communication is a very very essential thing. And I kind of like realize that there is a lot of kind of like a communication gap, yeah, in the couple of two, in a couple of two. Okay, yeah. Now if I would have a kind of like a somebody person or partner, do I do communicate? Yeah, I do communicate. But I do realize that ki I do realize that ki basically is this thing that ki even if I'm kind of like say that communication is very essential and things like that, but I haven't really experienced this thing, I haven't really had any kind of like somebody friend or girlfriend or things like that, I haven't really experienced those moments. So I'm not really sure what kind of like a somebody the what kind of like a somebody possibility or problem would gonna came, or what kind of I'm not really sure what will gonna happen. Okay, like basically some people kind of like somebody, like most of people kind of like say that ki communication is really essential and things and that. But one of the trickiest part of this thing, that how do you supposed to communicate, the execution part. Okay, yeah, and that is somewhat something people lack of it. I'm not really sure how do I supposed to kind of like do that thing out, I'm not really sure how do I supposed to execute that particular process. But I have faith in myself that I could do that thing. I would kind of like somebody try to talk as much as possible. I'm not really sure at the moment, but I don't know, this is what I'm thinking at the moment. Okay, yeah. So if I had any kind of like a person, like what kind of like a somebody that like what do you gonna feel when you have kind of like a wedding today? Okay, yeah, like let's just say you have wedding today. Okay, yeah, so a couple of hours you will gonna married. So what kind of like a you might gonna think? Probably nothing at all. Obviously, is this saying that person do I married? Obviously, I know that particular person. Okay, well known for at least like a year maybe. Okay, yeah. So probably wedding is just kind of like some event for me. Nothing really at all. It's just kind of like some event. We just had a kind of like some responsibility and kind of like some just enjoy and things and then next day is a kind of like some another day at office. That's it. Okay, it's not really that kind of like some very dramatic change would gonna happen. From societal point of perspective, yeah, it would be okay. Yeah, because is this thing na ki when you have a girlfriend, you might not kind of like somebody show your girlfriend to the society or things like that. But when you have a wife, then you are literally confident to kind of like a show that you have a kind of like a somebody girlfriend or things and you are kind of like a sorry a wife and things like that. And yeah, it kind of considered as a kind of like a somebody a very successful person probably if I'm yeah. So it's this thing that key. Will I get any kind of like a tense in this particular situation? No, not really. I don't really think that ki wedding would be a kind of like a somebody very tense situation. Kind of like a somebody from societal point of perspective, it's a kind of like a drastically change. But from personal point of perspective, I don't really think that. Why? Because if I know who am I supposed to be married, then probably yeah. If I don't know that particular person, which will not gonna happen, okay, but still is this thing, imagine that if I don't know that particular person, like let's just say that ki I know that particular person for almost like a month and right now we are married. So probably in this particular context, I don't know, like what's your take regarding about the arranged marriage and love marriage? Like what exactly is this thing? What do you think? How do you supposed to be execute that particular process? Well, I think that na ki a life partner is a very essential person. Okay, yeah. I think that na okay. Let me give you the perspective. Okay, yeah. We in our life we kind of like a known for thousands of people. Okay, yeah. But almost a few people that we know already, and almost a few people are kind of like a somebody that like basically is this thing that we want kind of like a somebody part of in our every event and things like that. Like let me give you a perspective. You know maybe thousands of people. Okay, yeah. You kind of like interact with the hundreds of people, but almost like a 10 to 5 people are kind of like considered as a close people that you are kind of like live your entire life with them. Okay, yeah. And in this particular circle there is a one circle which kind of like associate with only one person, that is called your kind of like a somebody life partner or kind of like a somebody a girlfriend or boyfriend, things like that. Yeah, like, and it's kind of like reserved for that particular person, and it's very essential to know her, understand her regarding about every possible perspective. Because of that, I'm not really sure about the other people point of perspective. I'm gonna tell you my point of perspective. I know I will gonna achieve. I have to be achieve so many things in my life. Okay, yeah, and for that achievement, I need to sacrifice a lot of stuff. Okay, yeah, and what is that sacrifice? Time is very much essential thing. Now, time is what? Okay, yeah. Okay, let me give you the perspective. Okay, yeah. Is this thing that when you married with someone else, let's just say a girl who actually you married with someone else, that girl has a little bit expectation that at the weekend she should supposed to be spend her time with her husband and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. I not gonna give that time to her probably. Okay, I'm trying as much as I could, but probably my time is kind of like a bit more spent on the things that I wanted to achieve. So that's why I would not gonna fulfill her satisfaction on this particular level, probably a time. Okay, yeah. Another thing is that na ki basically is this thing na ki is this thing that ki I'm not really sure what kind of like person am I now. What are you saying? Like basically yes, I'm kind of like a recording artifact. I know what am I person or what, but the problem is that na ki I know myself from my point of perspective. I didn't know what kind of like a person am I from a second point of perspective, and that second point of perspective is actually come from your girlfriend or wife or things like that. And I don't know what kind of like a person am I. Example, like do I kind of like leave the towel, the wet towel at bed? No, I don't. I kind of like took them to the kind of like a somebody, like I kind of like a somebody put it in the right spot where it should supposed to be. Okay, yeah. Do I clean the dishes? Not really, but when it have kind of like a somebody existing, no one has to do. I will like it doesn't really have any kind of hesitation, but I will gonna do this thing. Do you any kind of like do any kind of like a home chores and things like that, like home work and things like that, yeah, I do. It's not really that. Okay, yeah, but it does not represent that key what kind of like a person am I. Okay, because the person am I is kind of like a very much different according to the other person. What does people they see me? Okay, and that's what kind of like a very different. Okay, and I don't know that. Okay, uh, and this is only gonna possible when I kind of like have a connection with that particular person, that she knows me, understand me, वगैरह 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 वगैरह. Okay, yeah. I don't really have any kind of like a category regarding about what kind of like a some person or what kind of like a partner do I want, and nothing really at all. Just kind of like a somebody understand me, understand my life choices and things like that. Then that's good probably. I yeah yeah, that's it. It's just not kind of like a type or things like that, but yeah. And also is this thing that my time, okay, because I wanted to utilize my time for my achievement. Let's just say that if I have kind of like a entire life cycle, then entire life cycle almost like a 60%, 60 to 70% of my time is utilized for my work and things like that. Now 30% is kind of like it's going to depend on that particular person, then society, friends and things and that. But yeah, 70 to 80% I was going to spend my time on kind of like the things that I wanted to achieve. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is what it is. Okay, and is it kind of like a very huge thing to ask from her? Well, yeah, it is very huge thing to ask from her, because it's not kind of like a typical job that you have to kind of like a do 9 to 5 job and then you kind of like came home and you are free and things like that. No, I don't know. Yeah, it's I'm not really sure at the moment. I don't know what will gonna happen. I just kind of like have a faith in myself that I'm gonna do this thing. It's just kind of like a things that it just kind of like a things that you could kind of like a capable of that. It's kind of like something that inner feeling that that yes. So basically, is this thing that um, I will not gonna tense when I will get married. Okay, yeah, I will not gonna kind of like a hectic or things like that. Yes, I do prefer to know that particular person before I get married, at least like a year. Okay, yeah, because when you spend time in a year, you kind of like know more about that particular person. I actually emphasize more on communication. Okay, yeah, that trying to talk more, but I'm not really sure how it's supposed to be happen, because still I haven't really experienced those things and that. So this is just my take regarding about the possible point of perspective. Okay, yeah. By the way, we are kind of like a enjoy Willigan a lot today. Okay, today we have wedding. Yesterday we have haldi, so we actually kind of like enjoy a lot, dance a lot. Okay, spend a time with like I have kind of like a lot of big friends group. Okay, yeah, almost like a 17-18 people are kind of like a somebody inside our group, and which is good. Okay, yeah. Today we're gonna kind of like a really good. Okay, yeah, and tomorrow is also really good too. By the way, I'm belong to the India, and kind of like some wedding are here are kind of like so crazy. Okay, yeah, like it considered as a kind of like a couple of the event. Okay, yeah, like a haldi, sangeet, then shadi, reception. These are all those things are kind of like a somebody just full packed. Okay, yeah, it's a kind of like a mini festival in the family culture with the friends and things like that. All right. All right, so one of my friend is actually called, and yeah, this is good. Okay, so these are and I have a lot of stuff to do. Okay, I have to be kind of like a shave my beard. Thank you.